Pass the Florida Real Estate Exam, Part 2 of 20. License Law and Qualifications for Licensure, 6% of the exam. I'm Getchin Sherry with HomesNet Realty, and I thank you for watching. And if this is your first time on this channel, please consider subscribing and click on the bell to be notified when I post new videos. In this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate, I will go over 20 questions, multiple choice questions, designed to help you pass the Florida Real Estate Exam. Let's get right into it.
Number one, a sales associate license will be blank if he or she does not complete the required post-license education during the initial license period. Well, here, a sales associate who acquired the initial license, which is the sales associate license, if that person fails to complete the post-licensing requirement within the time frame of the initial license, that license will be void. I usually tell my students the real estate license, the initial license in Florida, is 108 hours, but it's broken into two portions. You do the first portion, which is 63 hours before you get your license, and then you do 45 hours after you acquire your license. Well, the 45-hour post-licensing education, it must be completed before your initial license expires. That's what this question is discussing. Number two, a broker associate acts in the capacity of A or N blank blank. Well, a broker associate is an individual who has acquired a broker's license. However, that individual elects not to open up his own brokerage or her own brokerage, but that individual continues to work under the license of another brokerage. Number three, residence in Florida may be claimed by anyone who resides or has resided in the state of Florida for not less than blank blank within the previous 12 months. Here, the question is really asking, must you live in Florida to claim a residence in Florida? Well, for real estate purposes, this is not applying for driver's license or any other licensing. This is purely for real estate purposes. You must have lived in the state for 4 continuous months. So if you live here for 4 continuous months, you are a Florida resident. And therefore, for example, mutual recognition will not apply. Number 4, the first real estate license law in Florida was enacted in blank. In what year? Well, the first real estate license law was enacted in 1923. The first Florida real estate license law was enacted. Enacted means it was passed by the Florida legislature. So they debated, they voted, and they passed that law. Number 5, upon passage of the state examination, an applicant for a sales associate license will receive an blank license. Well, when you pass your Florida real estate exam, you will receive what's called an inactive license. To activate that license, you will have to sign up with a brokerage. Number 6, Florida does not reciprocate with other states, but does have blank blank with some states that have educational requirements that are similar. Well, here, that is a mutual recognition question. Florida does not reciprocate with any other state, but it has mutual recognition. Well, mutual recognition is basically Florida and roughly anywhere between 8 to 10 states, depending on the time frame, they have mutually agreed to recognize each other's states, right? So Florida has agreed with about 10 other states currently. Kentucky is one of them. Georgia is another one, to name a couple. Those states in the state of Florida have educational requirements that are so similar. Then in that case, does each state say to each other, well, if someone from your state has a license, or a person who has a license in Georgia comes to Florida, Florida says, we will recognize your educational requirement, so therefore we're not going to require the person to take the pre-licensing course. provided that person has not resided in the state of Florida for 4 months. If the person has resided in Florida for 4 months, they are considered a Florida resident. So therefore, mutual recognition will not apply there. That's what I alluded to earlier. Whereas reciprocation simply means a person who has a license in another state, they've been practicing for a number of years, they're moved to another state. Well, that other state, because they've been practicing without any issues on their license, that current state will give them the state licensure for that same field. Well, Florida does not do that. Not in real estate, and really, Florida doesn't do that with any other professions either that I know of. So reciprocity and mutual recognition are two separate things. Number 7, the post-license educational course for sales associate consists of blank hours. Well, again, after you acquire your real estate license, you must do a required post-license education. That is 45 hours. Number 8, blank education must be completed during the initial sales associate license period. Again, your post-licensing education must be completed within the initial license period. Otherwise, your license will be void. Number 9. Well, number 9 asks, what is the purpose of the real estate license law? Well, let's dissect this question. It is asking, why do we need real estate license law in Florida? Well, the answer is very simple: to protect the public. Okay, the purpose of real estate license law is to protect the public. Number 10, why was the Florida Real Estate Commission created? Well, here they're simply saying, why was the commission created? The commission was created to enforce and administer and enforce real estate law. That's it. Okay, so now number 11, a sales associate failed to complete the required post-licensing education prior to renewal. What is the status of the license? Well, here they're asking you, if a person failed to complete the post-licensing education before the renewal, what is the status? Well, the status is void. They don't have a license. They have to go back to school, start from scratch, do the pre-license again, and then do the 45 before that license expires. Number 12, what are the minimum employment requirements for a licensed sales associate to qualify for a real estate broker's license? Again, here they're asking you simply, what is the minimum employment? How long, how much experience must you have before you can apply for a broker's license? Well, in that case, in the state of Florida, currently, you must be employed with either a brokerage or a government entity for at least 24 months within the previous 5 years. It doesn't have to be consecutive, but it must be 24 months, and it must be done within the last 5 years. And if that's the case, you can go and do your broker's course and apply for a license. Number 13, how many hours of post-licensing education are required to renew a broker's license? Well, similarly, here the question is asking you, how many hours does a broker need to renew his or her license? Well, the answer is 60 hours. So the broker's license is 72 hours for the pre-licensing course and 60 hours for the post-licensing course if you choose to go that route. Number 14, who may directly receive compensation for performing any of the 8 services of real estate? This question is very straightforward. Who can receive money directly for the service of real estate? Well, the answer is very simple. Only the broker. When they're saying the broker there, it is the brokerage. ABC Realty, anytime we do any transaction, anytime we collect money, it must be under the name of the brokerage. Let's assume Mary owns ABC Realty. Well, Mary closes a deal. Mary does not get the check right out to Mary. The check is made out to ABC Realty, and Mary, as the owner of the brokerage, can write herself a check. So any real estate agent, I know some real estate agent thinks they can collect money under their name. That is a big no-no. Anything we do is done under the brokerage name. That's what this question is asking about. Number 15, electronic fingerprints are mandatory for all real estate sales associate and broker applicants. For how long will the fingerprints be retained? Here, the only thing they're asking you is how long will DBPR maintain your fingerprints, your electronic fingerprints on record? Well, the simple answer is 12 months. They will maintain your fingerprints for 12 months from the date that they receive it. So from the date you submit your fingerprints, you have 12 months to complete your exam process, or you have to resubmit a new fingerprint. Although the application itself is valid for 2 years, but your fingerprint is only valid for 1 year. Number 16, all of the following are qualifications for sales associate license, except here, this is an except question. They're saying all of these are required to become a real estate license, a Florida real estate agent, except, well, remember, there's a video that I did before I started this 20-series video. It's called How to Become a Florida Real Estate Agent. I went over what's required to become a Florida real estate agent. So please, to get your license as a real estate agent, please watch that video. It tells you you must be 18 years or older. That is true. You must have a high school degree or equivalent. That is true. I also said you must be honest, trustworthy, and have a reputation for fair dealing with others. That is also true. And I also tell you that you do not have to be a Florida resident to get your real estate license for any period of time. So anybody, anywhere in the world can apply for a Florida real estate license. They don't have to reside here. As long as they are 18 years or older, they have a high school diploma or equivalent, and they are honest, truthful, and have a reputation for dealing with people fairly. That's all the state requires. Number 17, it reads, Bob, a resident of Kentucky, has been an active broker in Kentucky for 10 years. Bob wishes to obtain a Florida real estate license. All of the following statements are true or are correct, except, well, let's dissect this real quick. It says Bob has been an active broker in Kentucky for 10 years, but Bob also wishes to become a Florida real estate agent as well. All of the following are true, except for one. Well, here, the answer would be C. He does not have to begin as a Florida sales associate. He can if he wants to, but Bob can also apply for a broker's license because he already has the experience. He's a broker, but he can also choose to apply as a sales associate, take the sales associate course, and get his license. But he does not have to. Here, C is inaccurate because C says he must. He does not have to. He can go directly and get his broker's license if he wants to. Kentucky is also a mutual recognition state, like I stated previously. So he can come and they would recognize his educational requirement as long as he can pass the state law portion. That would be just fine. Number 18, which of the following is the best source of protection for consumers who are using the services of a real estate licensee? Well, here they're saying the best source of protection. What is the best source of protection for someone who's using a brokerage, a real estate brokerage? Well, the answer is the best source of protection is licensing laws. Number 19, all of the following are services of real estate requiring a real estate license, except, well, here they're telling you everything here requires a real estate license except for one. Well, showing real estate is a service of real estate. Showing property, opening up the door, showing someone the property, that is a service of real estate. Helping someone sell, listing, advertising, that requires a license. Counseling requires a license, but as a real estate agent, we don't have to do building. We don't build property. We don't build homes. So that's a different license. That's a construction. That's different. So it doesn't require a Florida real estate license. The answer is building. Okay. Number 20, all of the following are application requirements for obtaining a Florida real estate license, except, again, we just went over that briefly. This is basically what they're saying. All applications, all applicants What they're saying here in essence is all applicants for a real estate license require all of these except for one. Which one is not true? Well, you don't have to be a Florida resident. Florida residency is not a requirement, but you must be 18 years or older. You must have a high school degree or equivalent, and you must complete the application and pay the fee. Again, there's a video that I made recently and I posted. That's the one before I even started this whole process. It's called How to Become a Florida Real Estate Agent. I highly recommend you watch that because it tells you everything you need to do step by step, even go over all 19 chapters, all the 19 content that you need to know to get to pass your license. And again, keep in mind, I post Tuesdays on Thursdays. I'll see you on the next video. But in the meantime, please, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribe. Click on the bell to be notified when I post new videos. As well, if you wouldn't mind, share, comment, and like. And I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed and productive day.